Hi everyone, welcome to Panthera's Paranormal Odyssey. This channel was created for people who love all things paranormal. I will speak about topics on hauntings, spirits, urban legends, cryptids, stories, and a whole lot more. I will also be going through my own personal experiences along with viewer featured selections. So if you have a topic that you would like to recommend, please email me. My address is below and I'd love to hear from you all. So let's start today's Odyssey. I have a story for today. It is about a boy and a Sasquatch encounter. Let me preface this by saying that I didn't remember this incident until I was in my early 30s. It came back to me over about a week in bits and pieces. I think it was triggered by my brother who came to live with us. After a few days of little snippets and memories popping into my head out of nowhere, I finally talked to him about it. He told me it was all too real, although he didn't know what happened to me until then. He put two and two together and shared his side of the story, which made me realize that I wasn't crazy or imagining things. I grew up on a ranch near the Wind River Mountains in Wyoming. We heated a house with wood, so every year after the crops were in before we had to start irrigating, we would spend about 2 weeks in the mountains getting wood. We would always go to the same place that we called Bear Trap on the Sandy River. It was fairly remote because it was long and difficult to drive into the place. The only other people I ever saw there besides family were sheep herders on horseback. I should also add that I loved the outdoors, and we spent most of our time on the weekends either in the desert or in the mountains. I love them both, but for the desert, because I am much more comfortable there, I don't sleep well, if at all. In the mountains, I'm always on edge. For as long as I can remember, I've not been able to go creek fishing without someone else being nearby, preferably in sight. Now I know why. I think I was about 5 years old. My brother was 12. We'd been camping for about a week, and Mom and Dad went down the mountain or something and left my brother and me up there. It sounds crazy nowadays. I remember standing there watching them drive off next to my brother who had a .22 rifle propped on his shoulder. After they left, I went to play at my favorite spot by the creek, which is out of sight from camp, which was probably 200 yards away. I don't know what my brother was doing, but this is what I remember. I do recall being carried by something with long, thin fur under its arm, kind of like a football. There were at least 3 other beings along us, traveling upright and then on all fours intermittently and screaming and yelling at the one who had me. It was like they were telling it to put me down and it was wrong to take me. They seemed to be in a panic. I don't remember smelling anything. It was almost like I was watching it happen to someone else. I don't recall any emotions, like I was a passive observer. It doesn't make sense because I know I had to be terrified. I didn't like the loud, chaotic noises, though. I don't know how far we went. But finally, we came to a place that was an overhang or a cave. The dirt in front of it had been swept clean. The ones running alongside of us had reddish-brown fur and long arms and seemed to be like they were teenager age and a little younger. They continued to squawk and yell and protest until a much larger one came into view. Then they all fell silent and out of sight for some reason. I had the impression she was the matriarch of the bunch. She grunted something at the one holding me, and I was put down on the ground, and it left too. I didn't feel like she was mean or meant to hurt me, just very sad. I wonder if maybe she had lost her own child and snatched me out of grief. The older female looked at me kindly and had a soothing presence. Her fur was darker, almost black, and thinner and wiry. I don't remember if she made any sounds or not, but I felt like she continually communicated to me that I was safe and I shouldn't worry. She took me by the hand and led me to a bed-like thing made out of pine needles, grass, and soft bark, which was right at the inside edge of the cave or overhang. She indicated that I should sit there, and she was very gentle with me. She did disappear for a short time and came back with some water with plants in it and had me drink it and then gently laid me on the mat. The next thing I remember, I was waking up, first smelling a damp, mossy dirt smell, and then feeling the grass tickling my nose. I was very confused as to why I'd taken a nap right there. I was about 20 feet away from where I had been playing. I walked into camp and my brother grabbed me and hugged me, and then yelled at me for hiding from him. In retrospect, he was frantic. After I told my brother my side of the story, he told me that he had been looking for me for hours and that he had checked the area where I'd been playing several times. He also told me that Grandpa and Dad were aware that a family of these beings lived around there, but they've never bothered us. He and Dad used to leave salt and sugar on a log every year, and they took it every time. I was unable to talk to my dad and my grandpa about it after I remembered because they have both died. When I was young, I never told my mom about it either. I did hear my grandpa telling my dad about hearing something come up the creek while he was fishing once, and it was no bear. They stopped talking about it when they realized I was listening. I hope everyone listening has enjoyed this segment of Panthera's Paranormal Odyssey. If you have a recommendation for a topic, please email me. I'd love to hear from you all. I will be uploading 3 segments weekly. If you like today's selection, hit the like button below and subscribe to my channel. It's free and it really helps out. And remember, if you hear something while fishing, swim away. Bye, guys.